I've never been more wrong, or more sorry. Elon Musk's voice trembled as he uttered these words, his usual confidence replaced by genuine remorse. The crowd of hundreds fell silent, stunned by the tech mogul's uncharacteristic vulnerability. But it's what he did after saying them that truly shocked the world. Musk's next words hinted at a controversial tweet that had set the internet ablaze. As he prepared to elaborate, the audience held their breath, sensing that his revelation could potentially reshape the landscape of social media forever. What could have prompted such a dramatic mea culpa from one of the world's most influential figures? The answer was about to change everything. The sun had barely risen when Elon Musk's phone lit up with notifications. His latest tweet had gone viral, but not in the way he expected. Musk, known for his provocative online presence, had posted a comment about a sensitive social issue that touched a nerve with millions of people. Within hours, the tweet spread like a digital wildfire, consuming timelines and dominating conversations across platforms. Reactions ranged from disbelief to outrage as people from all walks of life weighed in. Social media analysts scrambled to understand the implications, while hashtags calling for boycotts began trending. The controversy's impact rippled through various groups. Longtime supporters of Musk found themselves conflicted, unsure how to reconcile this tweet with their admiration for him. Tesla owner forums buzzed with heated debates, some defending Musk's right to express his opinion, others expressing deep disappointment. As the day wore on, the backlash spilled over into mainstream news. Anchors on major networks dissected the tweet, bringing in experts to analyze its potential impact on Musk's businesses and public image. Headlines flashed across screens worldwide, each one chipping away at Musk's carefully cultivated brand. Musk's team huddled in conference rooms, frantically discussing damage control strategies. Press releases were drafted and discarded, each attempt falling short of addressing the magnitude of the situation. Meanwhile, Musk himself remained uncharacteristically silent, his Twitter account frozen in time with the controversial tweet still pinned at the top. As night fell, Musk sat alone in his office, scrolling through the responses. The harsh glow of his computer screen illuminated his face, etched with lines of worry and fatigue. He saw the pain in people's words, the anger in their capital letters, and the disappointment in their pleas for him to do better. For the first time, the weight of his influence truly sank in. Musk's mind raced with conflicting thoughts. Part of him wanted to defend his right to express his opinions freely, but another part recognized the hurt his words had caused. He grappled with the responsibility that came with his platform, realizing that every tweet could have far-reaching consequences. In the quiet of his office, Musk began to understand that his words, perhaps intended as a provocative thought experiment, had instead come across as dismissive and hurtful to many who had long fought for recognition and respect. The realization hit him hard, forcing him to confront the true impact of his online presence and the need for more thoughtful communication. The conference hall buzzed with an electric tension as Elon Musk stepped onto the stage. Gone was his usual swagger, replaced by a palpable nervousness that seemed to ripple through the crowd. What should have been a routine tech presentation had morphed into something far more intense, a public reckoning. Musk approached the podium, his fingers tapping an uneasy rhythm on its edges. He cleared his throat, preparing to launch into his prepared speech. But before he could utter a word, a voice rang out from the audience. "How dare you!" The shout came from a woman in the third row, her face flushed with anger. "Do you have any idea what your words have done?" The room held its breath. Security guards shifted uneasily, hands hovering near their earpieces. Musk blinked, momentarily stunned by the interruption. I'm here to talk about our latest innovations," he began, his voice lacking its usual confidence. But the crowd wasn't interested in innovations. More voices joined the first, a chorus of hurt and indignation rising from different corners of the hall. "My daughter cried for hours after reading your tweet. I've supported you for years, and this is how you repay us. Do you even care about the people you've hurt?" Each accusation hit Musk like a physical blow. He gripped the podium tighter, his knuckles turning white. The teleprompter in front of him scrolled uselessly, its carefully crafted words now irrelevant in the face of raw emotion. A young man stood up, his voice trembling. I looked up to you, Mr. Musk. I defended you to my friends. But now, how can I ever trust anything you say again? The air in the room grew thick with tension. More people rose from their seats, emboldened by others' courage. They shared stories of disappointment, of shattered trust, of the real-world impact Musk's careless words had wrought. Musk's eyes darted around the room, searching for a friendly face, finding none. For a moment, it seemed the situation might spiral out of control. The security team took a step forward, ready to intervene. But then, something unexpected happened. Musk raised his hand, silencing his security detail. He stepped away from the podium, moving closer to the edge of the stage. Wait, he said, his voice barely audible above the commotion. Then, louder. Please, wait. I want to hear more. The crowd fell silent, caught off guard by this unexpected turn. Musk took a deep breath. I came here today with a speech about technology. But clearly that's not what's important right now. You all have something to say and I need to listen, so please tell me. I want to understand. For a moment, no one moved. Then, slowly, a middle-aged woman stood up. My name is Sarah, she began, her voice shaking slightly. And this is how your tweet affected me and my family? As Sarah spoke, the atmosphere in the room shifted. The anger was still there, but now it mixed with something else, a cautious hope. More people began to share their stories, and Musk listened, really listened, for perhaps the first time in years. He asked questions, seeking to understand the full impact of his words. He nodded, his brow furrowed in concentration. And as the stories unfolded, something changed in Musk's expression. The defensiveness melted away, replaced by a growing realization of the power his words held. As the last echoes of Sarah's story faded, a hush fell over the room. The air was thick with tension, a palpable mix of anger and anticipation. Elon Musk stood motionless on the stage, his earlier bravado replaced by an expression of growing unease. He nodded slowly, gesturing for the next person to approach the microphone. A young woman stepped forward, her hands trembling as she gripped the stand. My name is Aisha, she began, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm an activist in my community, and your tweet? She paused, taking a deep breath. It gave voice to the very fears we've been fighting against for years. Aisha's words seemed to hit Musk, like a physical blow. She described how his tweet had become a weapon in schools and workplaces. People I thought were allies started questioning our right to exist, to be seen, she said, her voice breaking. As Aisha stepped back, an older man took her place. I'm Roberto, he said, his voice steady, but filled with quiet rage. He spoke of increased hostility at his grandson's school and neighbors suddenly distant. Your words gave new ammunition to those who would see us as less than human, Roberto explained, his eyes locked on Musk's. Musk shifted uncomfortably, opening his mouth to defend himself. But the words died on his lips as he saw the pain in Roberto's eyes. As the testimonies continued, a change came over Musk. His defensive posture melted away, replaced by genuine distress. He listened intently, occasionally nodding in painful acknowledgement. The audience watched in stunned silence. For many, it was the first time they had witnessed the human cost of social media, recklessness, laid bare in such stark terms. The abstract concept of online harm was suddenly given flesh and blood, tears, and trembling voices. A young man approached the microphone, his voice steady, but his eyes reflecting deep hurt. I believed in you, he said simply. I defended you to my friends, my family. I thought you were different from other billionaires. But now? Now I don't know what to think. The silence in the room was deafening as Elon Musk slowly walked back to the podium. His usual confidence had vanished, replaced by a look of genuine remorse. The crowd watched, their breath held collectively, as Musk gripped the sides of the podium. His knuckles turned white, betraying the internal struggle he faced. For a moment, Musk stood there, his eyes closed, gathering his thoughts. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper, yet it carried through the hushed room. I've never been more wrong, or more sorry. The audience leaned in, straining to hear his words. Musk's voice gained strength as he continued. I've heard your stories. I've seen the pain in your eyes, and I realize now, more than ever, the weight of my words. He paused, his gaze sweeping across the room, meeting the eyes of those who had shared their experiences. To Sarah, whose family felt the sting of my carelessness. To Aisha, whose community's fears I unknowingly amplified. To Roberto, whose family's struggles I made light of without even realizing it. To the teacher whose classroom I threw into chaos. And to the small business owner, whose livelihood I jeopardized. I hear you. I see you. And I am truly, deeply sorry. As Musk spoke, his voice grew stronger, not with defiance, but with conviction. I've always prided myself on being a visionary, on pushing boundaries and challenging norms. But in my pursuit of progress, I lost sight of the human cost of my actions. I forgot that behind every screen, every tweet, every share, there's a real person with real feelings and real experiences. The crowd listened intently, many nodding as Musk spoke of the need for greater empathy and understanding in online discourse. We live in a world where a single tweet can reach millions in seconds. It's a power I've wielded carelessly without fully grasping its consequences. Today, I stand before you not as a CEO or an influencer, but as a person who's made a grave mistake and is committed to making it right. Musk's words seemed to resonate with the audience. The tension in the room began to shift, not dissipating entirely, but transforming into something new. A cautious hope, perhaps. I've always believed in the power of technology to change the world, Musk continued. But today, I've learned that with great power comes an even greater responsibility, a responsibility I've failed to uphold. From this moment on, I pledge to use my platform more thoughtfully, more compassionately. He took a deep breath, his next words clearly difficult for him to voice. I've been guilty of treating social media as a game, a way to provoke reaction and garner attention. But it's not a game. It's real life, with real consequences. And it's time I started treating it as such. The crowd watched as Musk's demeanor changed. His shoulders straightened, and a look of determination crossed his face. But words are not enough. Actions speak louder than any tweet or apology. So today, I'm announcing a new initiative. A murmur rippled through the audience. No one had expected this turn of events. I'm establishing a foundation dedicated to promoting digital literacy and online empathy. We'll work with schools, community organizations, and tech companies to create programs that teach responsible social media use. But more importantly, we'll amplify the voices of those who've been marginalized or hurt by online discourse. Musk's voice grew stronger with each word. This foundation will be led by a board comprised of individuals from diverse backgrounds, including some of you in this room today. Because who better to guide this initiative than those who've experienced firsthand the impact of irresponsible online behavior? The room buzzed with a new energy. People turned to their neighbors, whispering in hushed tones. Musk wasn't finished. Furthermore, I'm pledging to undergo sensitivity training myself. I'll be working closely with experts in digital ethics and social justice to better understand the impact of my words and actions. And I'll be sharing what I learn, transparently and honestly, with all of you. Elon Musk's journey from a careless tweet to a profound awakening serves as a powerful reminder of the responsibility we all bear in the digital age. His experience challenges us to reflect on our own online presence and the impact of our words. As we scroll through our feeds, do we truly consider the ripple effects of our actions? The story of Musk's transformation invites us to pause and ask, how can we harness the power of our voices to create positive change? Perhaps it's time to look beyond likes and retweets and focus on real human connections we can forge through our screens. What message could you share today to brighten someone's day, inspire kindness, or spark meaningful conversation? The power to make a difference is at our fingertips. Will we use it wisely?